everyone, it's Shel from Scrap Secrets and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is part of the Team Tiny January 2023 hop, and our theme for this month is mixed media. Since I'm not too familiar with mixed media projects, I decided to look on Pinterest, and one of the ones that I found that I really liked was using some tissue paper. And this tissue paper might look familiar to you. If you've ever ordered from MFT, it's what they wrap all of your purchases in. So I've saved some of mine and thought this would be a great project to use it on. So I pulled out a piece, I cut it down to, or I tore it to a little bit of a smaller size, crinkled it up a couple different times in different ways to get a lot of texture. And the more you crinkle it up, the more texture you get. Well, instead of doing a card for this month, I decided I would pull out my art journal and do a page in here. So I'm taking some Liquitex matte medium and squirting it onto the page, and then using my spatula to go ahead and pull that that matte media down onto the paper so that it would be all over, and then I could put my tissue paper on it. Well, I was quickly realizing that the tissue paper wasn't sticking. I had to add a little bit more. It stuck, but it wasn't really down. So what I did was I put some of that matte medium on top of it and then did the same thing with the spatula. If you guys can see, that Liquitex bottle has a clearance tag on it. It's from my phase of buy anything in the clearance section and figure out how to use it later. So I don't have much experience with matte medium. As you can tell, I've probably called it the wrong name at least once or twice in this video, and I probably will again, but it is matte medium. I am going ahead and putting it on top of the tissue paper. You saw I used my spatula to kind of take the excess off the left-hand side. I did the same thing on the right-hand side, and now I'm using my Wagner heat tool to heat it up to dry that glue, and it gave it a little bit more texture. Then I pulled out some Concord and Ninth dies called Love You to Pieces, and these pieces that we're gluing down right now are from another project. They were the leftover pieces. I used the inside gold letters and then the outside of this, it's like a pearlescent white outline that I use. So I have the fallout letters and then the outline, and I'm using my Honeybee Be Creative glue to go ahead and glue those down onto my page. If you notice, I had to kind of press down a little bit on the letters because there was so much texture to it. It was hard to stick. Now, I could have done this when the matte medium was not dry. I could have done this over top of it, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I dried it and then I figured this out. So I kind of added an extra step for myself. I'm popping the letters back in like a little puzzle piece, and that's complete. I was trying to figure out what else I wanted to do, and some of the other projects that I saw had some textured stamping. So I found this MFT, it's a halftone radiating dots background stamp with the Hot Mama Simon Says stamp ink. Inked it up and then just put it on my background a couple of times. So I'm going to stamp that down, and I just thought that it gave a little bit more texture to the background, and it's something that's kind of out of my comfort zone. I went through my paper stash and found this Iris Lane Hot Buys paper pad from Michaels and picked one of the papers that matched with it. I wanted to do pinks and purples and whites. So I'm going to cut out a couple of the flower clusters and then use that same matte medium to apply these to the background. So that's the next thing that I'm going to do, and you'll see me do that. And while I'm doing that, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about this hop. So it's a hashtag driven hop. Make sure that you click on the hashtag in the title of the video, and it'll bring up everybody's videos. We usually have between 10 and 15 participants. Sometimes there are people that give away their projects. Sometimes people have giveaways on there. So make sure you check out everybody's channels so that you can see if there's any prizes along the hop. I'm not sure if we do have any. Occasionally people will do it just on their own. I know there's not a sponsored one this time. So hopefully you guys join us. I can't wait to see what everybody else does for their projects. If you guys are interested in joining Team Tiny, I will leave the link to the Facebook group below. We have a lot of great things coming up. We have a lot of great ideas for the hops over the next coming months. So hopefully you will either join us by watching join us in the hop or both. We really love having new people join us and, new viewers. So thank you guys to anybody who is new on this hop. Welcome. And for anybody who's returning, welcome back. So I hope that you guys are enjoying this and learning something new with our mixed media this month. Okay, so now back to the project. I am just cutting out a couple more of these flowers and then doing the same thing using the matte medium to go ahead and glue them down. Now, one of the things that I did, which was a total happy accident, and I believe this does work all the time, is when you put the matte medium over top of these ephemera pieces, or these pieces that you cut out. This is like my version of ephemera because I didn't really have any, which, by the way, I think is pretty common in mixed media, is using ephemera, at least from the projects that I saw. Again, I'm no expert on mixed media. This is just my version of it, is putting the matte medium on top of whatever you've cut out, your collage, your pieces, your ephemera, whatever it is. And if you use a marker on top of it, like a regular marker, I don't know if alcohol markers will do it as well, but you can kind of move the ink around and smudge it and do stuff. You'll see in a minute that I do this completely by accident because I do something that I really don't like. And I'm like, what do I do? Because I've already glued this down top and bottom. So that thing wasn't really going anywhere without ruining the entire page. And I thought, oh man, I ruined it. But with the ability, with the mixed media or the matte, I said mixed media, with the matte medium on top of it, I was able to move some of the marker around. So you see me just kind of gluing everything down, making sure all the pieces are secured into place. I had that one little piece that wouldn't rip and it wouldn't go anywhere. So I actually just folded it over and used a little bit of the matte medium that was on my palette knife. So now we're using some distress paint to kind of go over some of the cracks in the tissue paper and add to it. I thought it needed a little bit more gold, and this I think is bronze. I think that's the color of it. So it was a little bit more orangey when you put it on the tissue paper, which I didn't realize. And at first I was like, oh no, this is another thing that I did to ruin it. But I actually really like it in the end. You guys are gonna have to let me know what you think, if you like it or not, before I did it, or after I did it, if that was okay. So I'm going to bring in gold in another way by using some Nuvo drops to add some more texture to the center of this pink flower. I'm going to do it at the top one and then the bottom one. And then I'm also going to use black Nuvo drops to go ahead and add the center dots to the white flowers as well. I don't use Nuvo drops a ton. I have a bunch of them, but I very rarely use them, and I really need to use them a little bit more. So I decided to go ahead and use them in this to create the little dots or little stamen, right? That's what they're called, the stamen of the flowers. That's what they're called, right? So anyway, whatever it is, the center of the flower, I believe it's called the stamen, is in there. And if you heard crying earlier, if you hear this little crying, that's Lucy. She sounds like a baby. I know that a bunch of my friends always say that when I'm on the phone with them and she does this. She's whining for attention. Anyway, this is where I kind of messed it up. I wanted to go in and add a little bit of dimension to the flower, and then I was like, oh my goodness, it's not the right color. What did I do? But then I just kept doing it. So I don't know, kind of smudge it. I put the matte medium over it, I guess. I don't know what the heck I was doing. But then I take a white Pitt pen and kind of add to it because I thought, oh, maybe this will lighten it up a little bit. And you can see that when I smudge it, I'm actually moving the ink around a little bit. I actually get it on the white flower, and then I have pink on top of the white Pitt pen. This part was kind of a mess. This was, again, trial and error. And like I said, I'm not great at mixed media, so this was just kind of me flying by the seat of my pants. I am going to go in with a white gel pen and add some lines to the leaves just to add a little bit of texture to the leaves. And then I'm going to go in, and this is what I should have done on the first flower, but go around and highlight some of the lighter areas with this white gel pen just to kind of give it a little bit more dimension. And that's it for the project today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you follow along with the hop, and I will see you guys again real soon for another video. Bye!